Hey family, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Nikki Love, and of course, my brother is here to join us today. I know y'all had a lot of questions to ask. So we are here live tonight with our brother Kisalu.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the questions because y'all just making sure I stay on top of my game when it comes to giving y'all the solutions. I don't got nothing to sell you, so everything that you get from me and Miss Wunam and the University of Wunam and its constituents is going to be information that can be stand on as truth. We're not here to sell you nothing to give you a false hope about what you're doing. We're just here to just let you know this is what's going on. This ain't working and this works right here when it comes to structure for financing. So I appreciate the platform and I look forward to all y'all questions. But I'm gonna give y'all some answers also, so your questions ain't even got questions. But I'm gonna give y'all some answers also, so your questions ain't even got to come. I want to let you know how to walk and structure yourself outside of the LLC.
Okay. Well, first of all, I know there was bits and pieces of clips of what you talked about on YouTube and your book, White Paper, Black Ink.
Correct.
The chains of bondage. So before we get into the questions and answers, why don't you let people know a little bit more because they only seen bits and pieces, and off of them bits and pieces, we got 70,000 views.
Right. Like I said, I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, your platform that let you know that you got some people that's actually watching and following, paying attention to what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As far as White Paper, Black Ink, The Chains of Bondage, it is a word assimilated book drafted under, give you an understanding or overstanding of contracts, the ones that are being used against us. You know what I'm saying? Assimilated book drafted under, give you an understanding or overstanding of contracts, the ones that are being used against us. You know what I'm saying? So I needed to actually keep a record of what I was doing. I want to explain to the people that the birth bond process, collateral bond process, or they call it, or whatever, it is a real process commercially. It's not a real process the way it's being sold to us. You don't go to the vital records department and get your birth certificate. You go and ask them for the exemplification for record. They're going to say for what? You say travel outside the United States. They say where? You say the Philippines. In upon that transaction with them is actually granted, they will give you an envelope that you're supposed to take to the Security Exchange Commission. From there, the Security Exchange Commission gave me 3 court dates. First, they interrogated me for the first couple of hours just to make sure I wasn't a terrorist, I wasn't in the money laundering, and then just wanted to get an idea of what type of person you are before they give you the exemplification of a record. As soon as the interview was over, maybe an hour later, I got the 3 court dates from my court. For my court dates for me to get the exemplification from record, be told what HJR 192 of 1933 is, and then be told how the money and everything operate with taxes. So that is the process for the exemplification record that I went through. I never had to go and ask for no birth certificate or birth bond or nothing because it don't work like that. Why would Uncle Sam give you $1 million corporation where it has your capital letter name, but you only get it for $26? So that was the first step of me trying to figure out White Paper, Black Ink, a chain of bondage, because it was under word assimilation from a contract that was drafted by a thesaurus and governed by a Black Law Dictionary. So that was my actually standards with White Paper, Black Ink, the chain of bondage. I wrote it off my experiences so that we wouldn't have to go to YouTube. We had to pay thousands of dollars for trusts and EINs and 9/8, whatever they're telling you the process is, because it don't work like that. So what I've started with White Paper, Black Ink was a correct path where I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just telling you the truth about the industry and exposing the lies that are being sold to you.
Okay. All right. So family. Okay, so we just had Dark Side that just joined us. We have Zenergy join us. Okay. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the gifts, Zenergy. Okay. So if you all have any questions about black paper, I'm White Paper, Black Ink. Sorry, y'all. I'm real tired right now.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Black Paper, White Ink. But see, that's the second part of it. That's the second part we wrote. We wrote Black Paper, White Ink, I Unchained Bondage. Oh. It's a black book with black paper with the white ink, and then explain the process more in detail. That's why I say White Paper, Black Ink is a volume 12, one of 12 books that actually go together to form the E-state. The entity recognizes the state. Each book gonna give you fiduciary responsibilities or stewardship that you would have to walk and govern yourself by or your family. So it's like an intergenerational thing. You know, back when I was growing up, we had the World Book Encyclopedia Britannica that we had to buy that came as a volume set. Yeah. That's how I wanted to drop the book. So that people can have Sure stuff to study. I don't know nothing about the anymore. I have never ever been a 9/8. I don't know nothing about temples. I don't know nothing about birth bond. I just don't know nothing about all that. I didn't have to go through that process. Nobody told me about discharging because I knew it was discharge.
How?
See, if somebody come to me and say they're gonna discharge my debt, I'm gonna run. Because I know that ain't the right word. If you're Miss Nikki and I walk up and I call you Daphne, you're gonna say, who the hell are you talking to? Right. My name is such such. So that's the same thing with offset. It's not called discharge, it's called offset. So you have to offset the goods that you got from whoever you got them from so that they're paid.
Right.
Now, when you offset the things and they're paid, they're gonna release the total load of your title or property deed warranty to you. You just got to show them saying that you don't own it, you control that. So you need to pass it into a corporation. That corporation gonna keep it for maybe a year. After that, into a trust, and then the trust is ready to discharge it into the estate, so it can be in your family for the next 99 years and discharge it from public record.
Okay.
So that's what the word discharge means. Anybody or your gurus out there using the word discharge, he don't know what he's talking about. That's why it never worked for him nor you. It's a glitch. It can't be repeated. And that's what White Paper Black Ink is about. It's about having a place where I can go and read something and I know this person ain't lying to me, and then exposes everybody else that has been lying or selling them a process and stuff.
So tell me this, how did you find out they were lying to you?
Because they were easy. I went through the process myself and it involved none of the stuff they were selling people. Okay. See, I never had nobody to tell me to go get my birth certificate on the Vital Records place because they already had, the person who put me into this knew that the birth certificate wasn't at the Vital Records place. Okay. If you looking for a bond, why would we go to the Vital Records Department? Right. Why wouldn't we go where bonds are held? Right. Which is the Security Exchange Commission. Right. So off the rip, I knew that it was a false advertisement by who was selling it to me when he said, "Hey man, you got a birth bond." Oh, where is it? Is at the Vital Records Department. Oh yeah, I ain't going over there. You don't know what he's talking about. Right, he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, because it's at it ain't there. You only go and get the statistic record, a register of the birth being bonded there. Okay. They're going to give you a receipt which you take to the Security Exchange Commission. You have to exemplify that bond from record. And you got to have 15 acres or more.
In order to do that.
Right, because Uncle Sam ain't going to pass you a capital letter name to a person who named the capital letter name. This is an inheritance thing. You have to inherit the bond and put your bond on exemplification record for your children to inherit. Right. That's why everything got to be in the form of an estate, a trust. You got to be set up like you transfer intergenerational land to each other. Right. So that's where that structure come in at.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we got a question, y'all. The work says, where you learn all this from, bro?
Good question. I learned it from being able to apply myself, man. Spiritually, the spirit said I was going to actually come involved with the wisdom, which is the execution of knowledge of things learned. Some of the books I studied came from Uncle Sam. I didn't have to worry about studying nobody's book that they wrote because when I made the 25 mil from my book sales, Uncle Sam came in 3 days. See, the money came in 3 weeks. Uncle Sam came in 3 days. And he told me, hey, man, you got 3 years to learn how to do this because if you don't, I'm going to leave you with 2. So imagine you made $25. Somebody walk up and say, hey, because you don't know how to properly file these $25, I'm going to take $23 and leave you 2. And that would make me like, hold up, wait a minute now. What do I need to do? He gave me 3 years. He said, you got 3 years to file. So I went to a neighborhood over in off of Camp Creek in Unison, and the builder lost his money on $1 million neighborhood. And I fronted him $4 million in promissory notes that he was able to leverage against bank to keep building. He gave me a home in the neighborhood, and I studied taxes. And 3 years later, I came out there. I was able to. I knew everything I needed to know. I sacrificed going out, hanging out, kicking it, drinking, chilling, but I studied and I executed what I studied. So I wouldn't say that I got it from one particular place. I just got it by making sure that I was a student aware.
Okay.
So I got a question. So when you say they told you made 25, I'm gonna take 2. That almost, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like when they win the lotto and they may win.
No, that is Uncle Sam get a percentage.
So it's another way to keep some of that lotto winning if you know how.
Yeah. What Uncle Sam want to do is this. He's not asking you for no money. He's asking you to keep account of what the money is doing and where it's at. So instead of me saying, Uncle Sam, I'm responsible for this, I can pull myself out of the tax bracket and hurry up and donate my lottery winnings. I'm going to donate them to a church or religious organization.
So you can keep your...
Yeah, so that part over there good because I control that religious organization.
Right.
And then then this majority part, he can tax me for it, but I don't care because I don't mind paying taxes, people. Yeah. Right. Taxes are voluntary, but that don't mean you shouldn't keep accounting metrics for them in case they pop up.
Exactly.
See, that's the problem. Everybody wants you to run from taxes or avoid taxes. Why? That's like running off on a plug. If Uncle Sam gave you the opportunity and the work and the stuff to make the money, and you make the money, then somebody tell you you don't need to pay Uncle Sam all that. You ran off on the plug. Why would you listen to somebody who ain't making no money with the plug? Right. The best thing for you to do is realize your life is a business expense and not a personal problem. Your life is poor because of mindset, not because of the stuff that's going on in the world. You can't grasp that you buy drawers, boxers, maxi pads, and panties and bras for personal reasons. When I'm telling you to buy them because you can't go outside without them. That makes it a business expense. That means if you take the POP, which is the proof of purchase of Uncle Sam, he can recoup those expenses back to you. But since you go home with the bag, you take the drawers and everything out the bag, and you take the receipt in the bag and you throw it away, there is no proof of purchase for Uncle Sam to validate through H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt. Right. So if you don't have no proof of purchase, there's no way that you can actually recoup anything back as a business expense. So what I be trying to tell people is you have to swallow and accept that the smallest thing need to be a business expense, because then you can accept writing or offsetting a car or a house or something like that. But if you can't get past and accept that you buying drawers, maxi pans, and boxes because you can't go outside without them instead of because you need them, then it ain't going to be a big thing for you to get into this because it's not for you. You need to change and accept that everything you do or buy is a business expense. Uncle Sam has 2,100 tax forms, another 238 for cryptocurrency. Everything you do is supposed to be on the tax forms to keep the books balanced, which is the credit side of the T account and the debit side. You keep those two things balanced, he don't have to create policies to come get you and take the money in the form of fees, fines, and garnishment. So I would just tell people, accept the small mindset saying that I know how to save my receipt for these icebreakers because I need them for me, not because I wanted something good in my mouth, but because I couldn't shorten the business meeting with breath stank. That makes it a business expense for those icebreakers.
So tell me something. All of these people that, like Wesley Snipes went to jail for tax evasion. You got a couple of people that went to jail for. Mm-hmm. So basically, if they knew how to do this, it wouldn't be no problem because
that's what I tell everybody. You going to jail for tax evasion. Because see, tax evasion started from frivolous filings. After the frivolous filings, you went into tax delinquency. Then after he couldn't get in touch with you, it's tax evasion. See, those three steps have to happen before Uncle Sam can holler at you. And we need to start at the first step, the frivolous filings. You need to stop filing frivolously under the LLC. Stand up and create a corporation and let the business handle some business and then go seek funding in the form of that business entity and not your personal self. I'm trying to teach you to own nothing, control everything. Once you master that concept, then we're going to 2.0 you, throw you in overdrive, show you how to own no one, control everybody in the master manipulation of corporations. So this is a test and a step, but we need you to do it gradually. So
I heard that. Say it again. Own nothing, control everything.
Right. You don't want anything in your name. You want to stop making personal.
Y'all see the shirt?
See the shirt?
Right. Y'all see that right
It's a brand of philosophy. It's a lifestyle. We don't put nothing in our name. Because Uncle Sam said, I ain't mad at you for putting in your name, but if you put it in your name, I'm going to come tax you for it. So why wouldn't you give Caesar what Caesar and give God what God? Learn to be smart enough to create the corporation to pay taxes, but also wise enough to know that you don't own yourself, so you don't need to put your name on nothing belonging to anybody.
That's right. All right, so the work says always file under a corporation.
Right. You would want your entity to be a corporation. Because, see, and this is what I want everybody to understand, and the reason why I say corporation is not because of taxes. It's not because of any of that. It's because that is the only vehicle that banks pay loss mitigation for. They have a thing called loss mitigation, which is assurance policy. You as a people and me, we have insurance. They have assurance policy where they write loss mitigation policies where if they prescribe a corporation a loan, they can write that defaulted loan off if you don't pay it back and not have to come after you. But see, when you have a LLC or a joint venture or a partnership, they can put it on your credit. Somebody had the PG, something had to come up as collateral for this. That's why I say strengthen the corporation to go in the bank to get the white money. So if you strengthen the corporation to sign white on paper, it can go in the white bank to get the white money with your black self controlling it. Or however you may look. You know, my creator didn't create races, he created human beings. So
give them some examples of how they should set up the corporation. So like, you know, with my S corporation, I have TTJC, which is the initials of my grandchildren.
Right, that'll be the exact way I would set it up. Because see, you're trying to create intergenerational wealth, something that can be passed on without being in the probate.
Right.
You put these children initials in there. Then your next step after that is to get the corporation to have some par value shares and pass them to the children like stocks, Disney, Pixar. You start treating your company like that. That way it can build up wealth. It can build up worth, but you're training your children to be trust fund assets, beneficiaries of the business. And if it look like it got shares, stocks, board members, and all of them, your family members.
Oh, that's how I set it up. I have it all. Yeah, my daughters, all the kids, and then the grandkids.
See, the bank don't know that. They see different entities and names and structures. That's what we need. We need the bank to give us credit. So the machine will think it created it if you put nothing but the corporate credit information.
The corporate credit, right?
Yeah, and where it say name, put the corporate address name. Make the name with initials. Don't use investment. Use if I'm in real estate, I would do Miss Nikki. So that's N, and then I would be K. So I would do NK Real Estate Holdings, real estate development, real estate construction, commercial development. See, I will make it sound big on paper.
So what's the importance of making it sound big so the people could?
Because see, you know, it need to sound like it's not owned by us.
Right.
Right. It need to seem like it's a major corporation. The bank need to think it created it so it can give it credit.
Right.
So that's the structure of the business.
Okay.
Right. So it need to sound big. It need to sound white. It need to sound better than Miss Nikki's construction company.
Yeah.
Right. Because then they're gonna say, oh, that's Miss Nikki. We know her, give her credit. We can gauge her. But if she do NK construction company, they're like, who is NK?
Okay, so now that you say that, I actually owned a construction company.
Right.
Actually, I'm sorry. I owned a home repair company I had to list it under, but we were doing construction, and the name of it was MX 2000.
See, that's a great name, but I would do MS 2000 INC.
I did.
Yeah, see, I want to make everything a corporation. You're doing the right thing. You just want to structure, because see, then you want to go in the bank and leverage the corporation for funding.
Right.
Not put up your collateral.
Right.
You want to hypothecate the business. Right. That means bring value to the business based on the structure. Okay. And that's what we need people to do.
Well, I didn't know you at that time because I would have,
right. You would have did
that. And I was the first black female at 30 years old to own a construction company in Jersey.
Right. And see, off of that, that's proven track record. So we have to get into leveraging against the bank other than our credit.
Right.
You can leverage experience.
Right.
You can leverage a portfolio.
Right.
You can leverage stocks and shares. You can even leverage assets owned by other companies. But do it in the form that is always tied to a corporation to get the money tied back. Not to a point where it has to be tied to you and then I have to come chase you down if you actually don't get in the point of paying me back. Right. So what we want to teach people is that you own nothing and control everything by putting anything in your control. So if you have to default, it can be a corporation and then it can get away with defaulting.
Right. And
you don't have to be, you're not responsible in a way because I don't want you being responsible for a $500,000 loan. Right. The corporation is. It can take that hit. I don't have to pay the $500,000 back.
Right.
I defaulted. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to write it off. I'm going to go and dissolve the company and bankrupt the company so that I have lawful reasons to give them the reason to get their insurance check back for the property they lost with me.
So explain to the people that don't know, because you hear people walking around all the time talking about, something about LLC. Explain to them the difference or the reason why they shouldn't have an LLC.
Yeah, I just don't gauge with LLCs because that means you're not in the business for real.
Right.
With an LLC, you may be doing business, but you're not in the game.
Okay.
See, LLC still stand for limited liability, so there is no reason for you to be in the game. I don't care what you got. I don't care if you got cars. I don't care if you got houses. I don't care what you got in your name. When you pull out them 15 credit cards on Instagram, they all say LLC with your name. So that means it's never a business expense. There's a personal liability attached to that card in business. So that means Uncle Sam will never give you the recoupment back for it being a business expense. You can't never write nothing off. You can't never offset nothing because you didn't take the time to structure your business right. Because as soon as somebody said corporation, you said double taxation.
Okay.
And you ain't even made no money, but you worrying about being taxed. See how the petty thing?
Yeah. But if you think about it, limited. That's the key word.
But it says that's why I say by name. I could never get on here and call you Miss Daphne. I would have to call you Miss Nikki.
Right.
So naming is important. The name requires steps. It's a process. It's a system.
Right.
And it's a system that can't be deterred from. So that I'm thinking that everybody out there should just understand it. We're not here to try to show you what it is a machine.
Right.
You can call it a matrix. I call it IRS. This is not about nothing else. Long as you have your legacy and empire built and structured and then accounted with the IRS, you don't need to worry about man.